erroneous data during the data input stage, manual error. You all know, right? In Aadhaar card and all, they change all our name and things like that, right? So there is a data staging error, inputs error. So what should be the value I should replace this 95 with? So tomorrow, I want you guys take this example. For this example, I want you to represent 5-point summary. That is your assignment. Can you take a note of this? I'll just put it. I want you to give me an answer tomorrow, not today. I just given you, kindly make a note of this. So for this given input data, you need to write the 5-point summary. What is going to be represent this box plot? Okay, so you can have this minimum value. What is the minimum value here? What is the minimum value here? What is the maximum value? What is the mean value? What is the median value? Lower quartile, upper quartile. So represent this value in the box plot. Okay, try to do the Python code for this also. That is going to be your work for tomorrow. See, for example, if I have this number, see this much of data. Now this is the observation. The minimum is, the lowest value is 13. The highest maximum value is 70. Yeah. And then if you look at the Q1, okay, look at the range of values in the, suppose we split this as this data, set 1, set 2, set 3. In the, the lowest range of the Q1 will be 20, and then Q3 is almost in the range of 35, and median will be 25. I want you to calculate for this particular value what I have given you, come up with the answer for tomorrow. Okay, and so we have covered the standard deviation, and one more thing, there is something called covariance. Okay, so you can also use the covariance. So covariance is a measure. You can use either correlation or covariance. So in data mining and in artificial intelligence, we always use multiple variables. There are a lot of dependent variables. For example, in the morning when Ranganath is saying, even Mr. Balaji is saying, when you're talking about IoT, there are a lot of variables going to be collected. Suppose if you're collecting the data from a house, okay, there may be a temperature, there may be a humidity, there may be different values. Okay, temperature, humidity, and then maybe carbon footprint, CO footprint, something like this. So there are a lot of values, and then number of people living there, and then maybe the fan speed of the fan, and then power emitted by tube lights. Okay, so you are having these many variables. Okay, so now you are going to take these variables, and then there are some variables may be dependent variable, there are some variables may be independent variable. Okay, so we wanted to find out the relationship. Okay, the relationship you can find it out using the correlation. You all know, like there's a positive correlation, and then negative correlation, and then no correlation or neutral correlation. Similarly, you can also use covariance. Okay, for example, if I'm investing in one stock, investing in gold, okay, can I invest in petrol stock also, petrol company stock also? If gold stock prices, if gold stock prices increases, thus the petrol company stock also increases. Okay, I wanted to find out. So that for that type of relation, we use this covariant. So it's a relationship between two random variables. It can be any random variable, independent variable. So we are trying to evaluate how much, to what extent the variables change together. Does it, how much it just changes, the values, and how it is affecting the other values, right? So it's a measure of variance between two variables, one variable equal to the other variable, right? So we are trying to find out this basically xi minus x bar, right? That is basically the mean value of X value. So this is X is random variable 1, Y is a random variable 2, and then divided by total minus 1, total number of data points minus 1. Okay, so suppose you take an example of this. You've been given a stock S&P 500, which is a mutual fund, and the stock ABC Corporation is a stock. So now Mr. Ranganath is an investor. His portfolio primarily tracks the performance of S&P 500, and now he also want to add the stock of ABC Corp before adding stock to his portfolio. So he is already investing in SP 500. Now he is having ABC Corp. Okay, he wanted to assess, is there any relationship between these two stocks, right? And then John does not want to increase unsystematic risk of the portfolio. Thus, he is not interested in owning security tend to move in the same direction. So how do you calculate the covariance between ABC Corp and S&P 500? Okay, so what we do is we just take this. This is X value. This is the random variable 1, and this is random variable 2. We do the sum, and then we find the mean value. What is this A value? Anybody knows? How did we get this minus 352.80? When you watch the session closely, you will be able to follow. How did we get this minus 352.80? Ranganath, Mr. Ranga, are they giving any answer?
Saying subtracted from mean. Professor Vikas Dubey has responded, only one. Subtracted from mean, he says.
Correct. So basically, this is 160. What is the formula? Covariance formula. Xi minus X bar. Yj minus Y bar. Y bar is a mean. Okay. So we got this X, which is 1692 minus 2044.80, which gives you the value of A. Similarly, we get the value of B. Okay. So this is basically, what is this 109.20? If you do the calculation, you will know. I'll just show one quick calculation for you. So 68 minus 109.20. So which is minus 41.20, right? So for example, this one, how did we get? A minus 160.80 by basically 1884. I'm talking about the third row. 1884 minus 2044.80, which is minus 160. So we take this A and take this B and sum of these, right? So A into B. Again, the formula. What's the formula? Xi minus X bar times Yi minus Y bar. Okay, you multiply that divided by n minus 1. Okay, so we do that, and then so we see this is a very positive covariance, okay, because this highest value divided by it. So that means these both prices tend to move in the same direction. Sometimes we normalize this data, right? So that is basically, if you wanted to calculate the covariance, this is a formula. What you need to do, basically import pandas, right, as PD. See, there are some available in pandas, some available in statistics. Okay, so you have to clearly understand. So pandas is useful for displaying the data. I will show an example. You see here, so far we are talking about 3 packages. What are the packages we discussed so far? Quick chat. What are the packages we have discussed so far? List of packages.
Can you please respond, participants? Statistics, okay. NumPy, okay, very good.
Pandas, good, excellent. SciPy, very good, Dr. Palani. Super, excellent. Good. So this pandas is useful for dealing with the data, looking at different data frames. I will show an example and then I will do. Okay, this is for the covariance. What you need to do is see this the work. See here, we have 1692, 1978, 1884, 2151, 2519. So these are all, these are, hold on 1 second. Okay. So you have this 1692. These are all the x variables, and these are the y variables, right? So we are trying to find the covariance by using this COV function. Okay. So I will show you one last code of the day, and then I will leave the session to Mr. So I hope you all done the standard deviation and variance, right? So now we are going to do one comprehensive program, which is very useful for you for the AI, machine learning, and data mining. Okay, see this? Are you able to see my screen? All of you?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so now these are all some of the very, very important and popular packages in Python, right? Which is useful for machine learning, data mining, AI, statistics, and everything, right? See this, one of the important package from Pandas. So we are using Pandas as a package. We are importing read underscore CSV. So basically, if there are any Excel files are there, we should be able to read the file in the comma separated value. And if I want to do the plotting, I can use the scatter matrix plot. And if I want, already Ranga gave a clue, matplot library, it is available from the package pyplot. There is a sklearn model selection. Okay, sklearn metrics. So for all the metrics, there is a sklearn metrics. Okay, this is classification. I will explain you tomorrow about confusion metrics, all these codes, and then also logistic regression. And we'll also explain you the neighbor KNN and decision tree. That will explain you tomorrow, right? And then there are a few which is beyond the scope of this session. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is you should import the libraries first, whatever libraries you're looking for. Number two, you can load the data set. So you can load the data set using 3 ways. Okay. Yeah. So data set loading. If you want to load the data set, you can load the data set using 3 ways. Okay. One way is like this. See, I'm defining the data inside the code. It is called built-in embedded data set. What I did just now is I am using the data inside the code, right? So basically, the first step is data can be embedded, defined inside the code. That is one way. Second method is you put the data into some comma separated file, CSV format or JSON format. Okay, you have a different data, or you have some images also in your system for the image processing. The other way is you just use the internet directly. There are a lot of data set available in the internet. There are so many data sets available for agriculture, healthcare, especially researchers. They will use so much of data. Instead of you simulate, you can directly go to the cloud and then get the data. So that is of one of this. See here, I have one CSV file. So basically what I'm doing is I am using this URL. I'm declaring the URL here using the GitHub. GitHub is an open source wherein all the open source code and then data is available. So where there's a content. So there is a Jay Brownlee. He has defined the data sets. There is a master. He has defined iris. Iris is a type of a flower. Okay. So if you see this iris flower, very picture. This is the iris flower picture, right? So this has the sepal petal. Okay, so there is a data set about this iris flower. Okay, so this data set for particular flower is available in that data set. Similarly, you can go and then look for agriculture, India agriculture data, agriculture data set for data mining. Right, we look at it like this: climate. So India agriculture and climate data set, there are so much of data available. So you can go and then take those, and then you can do some kind of a coordination, and then see there is some data available. You can look at the by looking at the data. See, there is a data set covers 271 districts within 13 states of India, Kerala, Assam.
Venkat, sorry to interrupt. Tomorrow we're going to show you on how to go about, taking the data set, what are the different types of data types.
Yes.
How would you clean and all that stuff will be covered.
Exactly. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we will cover about the different types of data, how you explore the data. So all I'm trying to tell you is there is data available. These are all different variable inputs, right? So as a Python coder, as a AI expert, as a machine learning expert, you should know how to look at the data, how to view the data, right? So now coming back to the code, yeah. So this data is a data set. Now I am giving the names for that data set. I'm giving the columns for every tuple record. I'm defining the column. So sepal length is a column, sepal width is a column, petal length is a column, petal width, and then what type of flower is that? If it is in this length, if you look at the picture of the flower, depending on the length of the sepal and then petal, you can classify whether it is what type of flower, what type of iris flower is that. So that is what we are trying to do. Okay. So now if you see this, I'm doing this data set read underscore CSV. From where we got this package? Anybody guess me? Tell me where you got this read underscore CSV. This is a method, right? From which package we have got?
Waiting for responses. Saranya says pandas.
Excellent. See this?
Professor Vikas says pandas.
Yeah.
Manoj
From
says SQL.
Exactly. We are directly using this name. From pandas, import read underscore CSV. So I'm not using as here. You can use as also. As Excel read, I can give that.
As PD maybe.
Yeah. I can just use that. Right now I am using specifically a module of that. Okay, so I'm using that. So
one add-on, Dr. Venkat here. Like morning when I was explaining the Python code, I was telling you that we will show you about the data frame. You are right now. This is the table, the data set. What doctor is explaining. Your code is going to move into a table of rows and columns. It's called as observations.
Exactly.
And features and observations.
Exactly. So often we call that as a data set or frame. We put it as a data frame. So that is the power of Panda. So what we are going to do is this data set right now we are reading in the form of a CSV, because this iris CSV file, if you go to the internet, if you just go to the internet, when you click it, see, do you see this?
Maybe post it so that they can also download it.
I'll put it in the link also. I will put it. So you can use this. This is a data set. You can download this data set and then you can work. This is the data set. 5.1, 3.5, 1.0, 0.2, iris setosa. Not setosa. Okay, setosa. And then Verisi color. Okay, there are Virginica. Okay, there are 3 types of class of flowers are there.
As you can see that CSV is a comma separated file. Each comma separation is a separate field.
Exactly. Yeah, this one is a field 1 and comma, field 2, comma, field 3, comma, field 4. Okay. So you can see here, notebook change, reload. Okay. Yeah, no problem. So here, instead of giving this URL, you can also give the local file name. You can just C colon, and then path you can give. Okay, so that will open from the local disk. And the names we are defining. What are the columns I wanted to define? First column, sepal length, second, third, fourth, fifth. Are you clear? That is basically now we have defined column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5. So that is the mapping which we have done here. Now,
how powerful Python is. You can read it from an URL. You don't even have to store it in your table. If it's a huge file and you have the processing power in Google Colab, you can read a 1.5 GB file. You can just point it to the URL. You don't even have to store it. That's how all the big data and all that work. That's how powerful Python is.
Exactly. So now this is the one classic thing for you. Print. If you now look at it, data set. So data set is what this data set. In the data set, I wanted to print some 20 rows. Head means just give me the head of the values. You can also put tail. So I wanted to see like first 20 rows. Then I wanted to describe my data set. I see power of that. I don't have to do anything. When I do this, I can look at the statistical summary, how many rows, how many columns, what is the mean value, median, everything it will describe in one simple statement, data set dot describe. Then I wanted to group by based on the class. I can do that also, right? And then I can also draw a plot. Okay, with that, I will just show you now how this works. You all try to do this step 1. Everybody ready? I have put it in a code. I'll give you the code. Should I give you the code or should I copy paste so you will do it? Either way is fine. How do you want?
Doctor, I suggest you give them the code, let them run it tomorrow and come back and show us or share the document with the box plots. Give them the code and let them just play around with it. Sure. And also, if you just run this, one of the part of the homework in the document, Doctor, can you please show that
sure.
Python code?
All code I will give them. Probably that they can do this. Just hold on 1 second. DF. Okay. Let me try to run this first, then I'll give you.
Is I want them to run the describe and you don't explain anything about the describe. I want the participant to run that describe statement and give us their analysis of what it is. Because you have taught the theory, I want the participants to come back with the homework.
Definitely.
Just please don't run that code.
Yeah. First, I want to run this. Okay, it's working. See, one thing I wanted to tell you, all of you, are you seeing my screen?
Yes, yes, yes.
There is something called data frame. I will share this code with all of you. You can do this parallelly. Right now, I will put it in the chat window. Kindly take this. I kindly take this code as it is, whatever I gave you. Copy paste in your system, and we are going to run it. We are going to demonstrate how that data frame is going to work. Now what we are doing is, I'm giving columns, I'm declaring the columns, I'm giving column 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, and then I'm going to display the data frame. This is code 2. Kindly do this and let me know whether it is working or not. Check the weather. Are you able to get that?
In general, in the machine learning, ladies and gentlemen, the columns are referred to as features. Please make a note of it. The columns are referred to as features and the rows are referred to as observations. That's how people talk in the machine language industry.
Okay. Have you done this first step?
Just run the describe, but don't explain it. Give them the code.
No, I did. Okay. So I want them to tell me what these statements have done. These now I am pasting the other code finally. The last code. Yes, sir, got the output. Thanks, Professor Vikas. display the data. Yes, it is working, sir. What did you infer from the last two? You just did the DF head of 3 and then statistical summary DF dot describe. What is that describe gave you? Working, sir. Good, Sridevi. Sridevi, Asi Tambi, it is working. What is that it gives you? What did you infer from that data?
You only ask them to see whether it's working. So they're saying it's working.
5-point summary. Excellent, Saranya.
Excellent. Superb.
Mean, median, all 5 points. Gave statistical summary, Krishna Khan.
Very smart professors.
Excellent.
Wow. Jayapanian says observations. Excellent. You guys are picking up on the fly. This is a smart crowd, doctor. You got to be careful.
Yeah. Got the result for 5-point summary. Very nice. Okay. Okay.
What are the 5 points that you got? Can somebody don't show it, doctor. Go down.
Yeah.
What are those in the summary? Can somebody? Okay. Keep going, Tanuja. Excellent. Excellent. So beautiful. So does anyone will be able to explain that min to max 25%, 50%, 70%? Can anybody be able to tell what it is? Doctor explained it. Okay, of what? Q1, Q2, IQ, or of what? From where? Range of what? Q1, Q2, IQR, whisker plot. Very good. What is it related to? What is also called as a whisker plot?
What is this?
Jayapanian, where does quartile 1 come from? Which plot does it come from? Quartile 25%. Okay, what plot you use to find outlier, Tanuja? Keep it coming. 50% is median. Very good. What is IQR? There you go. Dr. Palni Tanaraj says
75 minus 25.
Very good. Interquartile range. IQR
Exactly.
Interquartile range.
Absolutely.
Bingo.
Excellent.
You have done a good job, doctor. People have learned the stuff.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Ranga. The last one for the end of the day. So this is another way to look at now you know how to work with the data. Okay. Do this. Basically, you can sort however you want to sort. Like say, I want to sort the data by mark. Okay. So actually, I have these marks. If you look at it, 70, 60, 50, kind of, in a different order. It is not ascending order, right? So I wanted to go from lower to higher. So I can use this sorting feature of DF. DF is the data frame, right? So this is the data which I'm working on. I can sort the value of, whatever value I wanted to sort. I want to sort by marks. I wanted to sort by position. So I've used this, the last one. Okay. So I use that, put it as a position. Okay. And then I'm just running it. Okay. Last position. Okay. So now I run it a DF underscore sorted by marks. So you can see this 50, 60, 70, 80, and then it goes on like this. Okay.
One other homework I want to just hold that screen, doctor. One other homework, participants ready for the challenge. You just look at, just hold that, doctor. Just hold that. Just look at observation number 4. What is this ID? Okay, ID number 5. Sorry, ID number 5. ID number 5. What do you see there in that observation? Is there anything weird in ID number 5 and ID number 6? What's very good, Saranya. What is that? Butter naan?
Garlic naan.
Garlic naan.
Yes.
Doctor is serving us naans here, not a number. Exactly. So we want missing value. Sir, nobody is a value here, sir. We were missing value, I know. Just kidding. Just kidding, sir. Just fun. Come on. End of the session. I don't want anybody sleep. We want the participants to figure it out how to fix them, because this is going to be a lot in your data science projects as well as. So tomorrow you will come back and tell us how would you fix butter naan in your data set. Okay, sir. Perumal, sir, you can do it. Good. But we want all of you to go back, do more work. Just mean is good enough. So
Yeah.
this morning we spoke about the issues with mean and median. What if there is an outlier? So mean imputation might be a problem. Clue for that, the word is called as imputation. Okay, just look around, try to dig around, do a little bit of homework, and come back to us tomorrow with good suggestions. Even if we forget asking about the homework, being good students, you tell us how the homework was.
Yeah. So this, if you look at it, you can also draw the histogram. You can show the plot. You can, draw the box plot. Okay. You can do the scatter matrix. You can do how the data is distributed, right? You can do the show. All those things are all available. Okay. So with that, I'll end, and then I'll give it to Mr. Ranga to continue on his further topic. At the end, we will just discuss about your assignment, the big assignment that will be evaluated at the end of the session. Okay, so I'm done. Ranga, it's over to you. I'll stop.
Thanks, Professor. Dr. DVS. Okay. Good afternoon, participants. I'm hearing myself again and again. Is anybody on? Can you just please mute yourself? Okay. So what I'm going to do is, I can hear myself. If anybody is unmuted themselves, can you please mute it? Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody is muted.
Thank you. Excellent. Excellent feedback from all of you makes us do more. We want you to come back. We want to register you guys back again for an advanced workshop. So please do not miss any sessions. Each and every session is going to be like a twist in a movie. Each and every session, you're going to love it. Okay. So, Doctor, if there are any comments, you can just look at it and give a feedback to me. I'm just going to carry on. So, this is our beautiful Kumbakonam campus for the people who have not visited the place from outside Tamil Nadu. Please don't miss visiting the campus. It is unbelievable hospitality from our beloved Dr. Alirani Madam and their Sudha Madam and their group and their students are marvelous. We have been there in person. We were overawed by their hospitality. So on behalf of Sastra and Alirani Madam, I'm inviting you all. Once the COVID permits, we want all of you to come down for a one-on-one FDP session. Okay, madam, naane koopitren unga saarbula.
Sure.
Yes. We are crumpling so many things. Then we will diversify. That is, we will give importance for each and every area of what we are discussing now.
Excellent.
So, I am the same topic I would like to extend because AICT permits. So we will do it. No problem.
Definitely. So this is, we're going to quickly talk about what is AI. So we have been talking since morning and we're coming to the end of the day. Sir, you're going to talk about what is AI. We know about it. Most of you might already know what AI is. I'm going to quickly run through this because I want to probably give some time to explain what is expected as a part of the assignment. So pardon me for, I will run through quickly, but if there are any questions or if anybody want to see a few of the slides again, we will be able to do it again. So don't worry. So artificial intelligence is nothing but you're going to make a computer control robot or a software think intelligently. This is similar to what I said in the morning. We're going to make a machine think like a human, right? So what is the philosophy behind AI is putting a human brain essentially into a computer. Can a machine have a mind? Can it have its conscience? Okay, can feel how things are. So will it be able to be done? When they started AI, probably it was not possible, but today it is possible. Computers are doing a lot of this, and it's going to be a fun time ahead. So it's a great area for research scholars and professors and also students, as Dr. Venkat rightly said. That's why AICT is pushing in for their BTech artificial intelligence and other courses. So are there any specific goals for AI? Yes, it is to create expert systems where you can exhibit intelligent behavior, learn, demonstrate, explain it, and advise to the users. Human intelligence in machines. We need to make sure that it can understand, think, learn, and behave like humans. What does AI comprise of? When you talk about AI, that's why when we say artificial intelligence and people immediately tell that it's going to replace jobs. This is one slide I talk about. Wherever we go, we talk about in the forums as well as in all the colleges. We say it's only going to increase job opportunities. Look at the areas and disciplines that needs to be involved in AI. It's computer science, psychology, neuroscience, biology, maths, sociology, philosophy. So you have a doctorate in philosophy, you are the most required for an AI. In a psychology doctorate, they will love to have you, trust me. So it's only going to only make more jobs. So these are the different areas and disciplines that we're going to look at. Basically, what is an AI technique is nothing but it is a way to organize the knowledge in an efficient way. That's all. Knowledge is there. How do I efficiently organize the knowledge and make corrections to the errors and improve the efficiency with accuracy? This is what the AI techniques are. How do I learn faster? How do I solve a problem with less errors? How do I make a robot go from point A to point B without falling down? Right? How do I make a self-driving car move from point A to point B without killing anybody? So that is the technique. Where can I use AI? Actually, that slide should say, where cannot I use AI? Okay, so that's how it is. It is the other way around. It's used in gaming, natural language processing, expert systems, speech recognition, vision systems, handwriting recognition. There are a lot of sites already today. You can go test. You can write as something, it will recognize it. Intelligent robots, that's the keyword. Intelligent robots. They'll have sensors. We saw about IoTs, right? To detect physical data in the real world, like heat, temperature. It's going to say, okay, it's too hot. Not allow anybody to, that arm might not even work if it is too hot. So these are all the different areas. So what is intelligence composed of? When we say somebody is intelligent, they obviously have very good reasoning. They're good at learning. They're good at problem solving, perception and linguistic intelligence. Isn't that when we call somebody intelligent? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you would agree. Yes. So if the computer must be able to reason out. Why should it do this? There are two types of reasoning. One is inductive reasoning and deductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning says it's a general statement. Rohit is a teacher. Rohit is studious. Raja is a teacher. Raja is studious. Chiranjeevi is a teacher. Chiranjeevi is studious. Okay, so what it means? Obviously means all teachers are studious. So inductive reasoning, inclusive. Deductive reasoning is deducting. So what it says is it starts with a general statement and examines the possibility to reach a specific logical conclusion. All women of age above 60 are grandmothers. Shalini is 65. So it is going to deduct that since that lady is 65, she is a grandmother or a grandfather. So this is what is an interesting slide on. Where is this? Okay, just 1 second. Let me try to. Okay. So we're going to be talking about a whole lot of this: deep learning, supervised learning, unsupervised learning in machine learning, and then some of the text generation on NLP. We're going to be talking about NLP. It's bad. It doesn't do good. Yeah, let me see this. So we're going to be talking about that. These are the advanced areas. We're going to talk a little bit about speech. So what is intelligence composed of? We said problem solving. So we should be able to solve a problem, make a decision. Perception is about, this is a common English term that's used. So this is a common perception. What is the perception of people for politician to win an election, the perception is important. So it is about acquiring, interpreting, and selecting and organizing sensory information. So what do you sense? What do you acquire? What do you interpret? What do you select? Okay. So perception will presume sensing. Humans have that inbuilt sensory organs. Venkat was explaining this morning about sensory organs. So that is about perception. Linguistic intelligence, linguistic is language. So you should be able to verbally read and write. So you can handle multiple languages today. What is the basic difference between human and machine intelligence? Is there any difference? Obviously, human intelligence perceives by pattern. If you see a pattern, you will immediately tell me, I show you this number here, you will immediately tell me, that 4 is followed by 0, 4, 0, 4, 0. So there is a pattern. After 4, put a 0. So we are very good at recalling patterns. So this is what we're going to teach the machines to use the patterns and recall it. And humans can figure out complete objects, even if some parts are missing. If I show you a bike without 2 wheels, you will definitely be able to identify that is a bike missing 2 wheels. But machines cannot do it correctly. But it is getting into a better position now. It's all about training. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all about machine learning, deep learning. It's all about training. The more and more you train the machine, it will do stuff. Suggested areas of research you might want to note down. We have already said this. A few of them here, it's an ocean. Few of them here would be expert systems, neural networks, robotics, fuzzy logic, and natural language processing are some of the areas that so some of the expert systems, we have flight tracking system, clinical systems, natural language processing, Google. You go talk to Google, Alexa, speech recognition, automatic voice input, neural networks, face recognition, character recognition, robotics, industrial robots, industry 4.0, 5.0, doctor was speaking about it this morning. It's all about spraying, painting, everything is done. Like we worked on a project for Coca-Cola where somebody was actually asking that in the morning as a question. There is the IoT censored robots are there. When it reaches a certain the vibration, depending on the machine's vibration, it knows there is an issue at this particular part. It will stop the machine and will indicate that, oh, change this belt. If it is making so much extra noise, it will know that this is extra noise is going to lead to another problem, so that you don't come up with breakdowns. So you solve those problems upfront. So IoT is a big area. So today, his world, IoT, data science, meaning inclusive of machine learning, deep learning, neural networks, convolutional neural networks, reinforcement learning, CNN, GANs, long short-term memory, LSTM, natural language processing. These are the areas which you should look at, and that's a bright future, at least for the next 10 years. You will be at a different level, and you will also guide your students to be the leaders in tomorrow's world, and you can be proud of it. Some of the problem solving in AI would, Sudoku is an AI system, traveling salesman problem, Tower of Hanoi, water jug. I'm sure you must all be bored with teaching. Whoever has handled computer intelligence for AICT would have definitely at least seen this or heard this, all these different problems at least once. Some of the most common problem solving techniques that we use is, obviously, when there is a problem. This is an analogy that's coming from our day-to-day life. When you have a problem, what do you do in your life? You define the problem, you analyze the problem, you identify the solution for the problem, choose the best solution, implement the solution. As I always say in all my classes, if I don't say this, my session won't be considered as complete. Please remember this and quote to your students as well. Computer science is common sense. Computer science is common sense. Common sense approaches is what is being followed in computer design, artificial intelligence design, all the technology, be whatever be the buzzword, you just rip those apart, look at it, take a closer look with the binoculars or you will know that it's, wow, this is a normal basic day-to-day thing that I solve every day. That's it. So same thing is being used here. Define the problem, analyze it, identify. So as an example for your self-driving cars, what you need to, I need to address different conditions. I need different ways to address the conditions. I need to choose the best solution and obviously get it implemented. Some of the search algorithm terminologies are the search space, start state, where does it start? What is the goal? What is it? Search tree is how it's going to traverse the path, what action it's going to take, what is the cost of the path, what is the solution. So this is basically can be applied to anything that you do today. This is the base. Search algorithms, ladies and gentlemen, that has been covered as a part of artificial intelligence or computer intelligence in any AICTE syllabus is the base for the entire artificial intelligence. So once you understand this, after this particular FDP seminar, I'm sure you will be able to relate each and every concept and explain to your students. This way it sticks with them and it is not like a rote methodology. We look for the completeness, time complexity and space complexity as well. Some of the informed and uninformed searches are BFS, depth first search, breadth first search, and informed search. Any questions? Somebody is unmuted. Anybody has a doubt? Request you to please mute. Informed search is best first search and A star search. Thank you. So we're going to be BFS, breadth first is a blind search methodology where you will see here, as you can see, it starts, hold on. Are you able to see my pointer, doctor, participants?
Yes.
Are you able to see my pointer? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, madam. So breadth first is about it starts with this. Yes, as what I said is the start. G is the goal that it has to reach. So it starts here and then goes to A. It does at breadth level. 1 A and B it will finish. Then it will finish C, D, G, F. Then it will finish E, G, I, and then it will come to K. So breadth wise it will search first. So that is the path. Generally it's costly. This is about complexity and the completeness and optimality. This is due to shortage of time. We're not spending in detail. So it's about the depth of the shallowest one should be end to end. So it will add up all the cost of the nodes. Then we have the depth first search. Depth first. It's all English, as I said. Computer science, common sense. Depth first. Search the depth. Start from S, go the depth. A, B, D, E. Nothing is there. Go to C, then reach the goal. So this is depth first search. So again, we have the cost and completeness for this. Then we have informed search, which are basically heuristics. Heuristic is nothing but based on the previous knowledge as well as the best approach. Greedy search is one of the A-star algorithms. That this is the steps. I will take you to see this greedy algorithm in action. You please watch it. 7, 12, 6 it has taken. See, greedy algorithm looks for, rather than, see, 99 is the biggest number that it should go. Rather than doing that, the greedy algorithm chose the immediate highest number. After 7, it saw 12 and 3, right? It is greedy. What is greedy? We want more. So immediately it jumped to 12 rather than jumping to 3. If it jumped to 3, it would have gone to 99. But it jumped to 3 and it ended up choosing 6, which is not the best solution, but that's how greedy search works. So is that animation visible to all of you?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
Mr.
Great. So that's it. See, picture speaks 1,000 words. All these 10 slides is this. This is an explanation on detail. I'll show you some code. So let's take a greedy search example. This is a 5 minutes, doctor. I'll give it to you at 4:30, doctor. Okay.
No problem.
This is, imagine this as a office or a warehouse. So you want to start a robo to go from O03. I want the robo to go to R123. So for your purpose, I have removed all the other areas and I have given only the path. If you look at it, the robo has to start from 103 and it has to reach R123. And you can see there are multiple paths. I can go from 103 to 109 to 119 to 123 to R123. Okay. So that seems to be the optimal solution, but there are also other solutions. I can go from 103 to B3 to B4 to 109, 119, 123, R123. Or I can go from 103 to B3 to B1 to B2 to B4 to 109 to 119 and 120. So there are so many different approaches. So depending on the reason why I'm showing this is, I request everybody to mute, please. The reason I'm showing this is so that you can, depending on the algorithm you use, your robo is going to choose, your algorithm is going to choose. Forget about robo. You're trying to use a deep neural network, right? You're trying to find the image that you're seeing, whether it's cat or a rat or a mat. This is what it's going to do. It's going to take and go search and find out. So the path it travels is all about what it does. So we also have something called as a now improvement on the greedy search is an A-star search algorithm, where we don't only here, we are only bothered about the heuristic number, this heuristic number. Here what we do is, in addition to the heuristic number, we're going to also use the cost to reach the node. So I'll quickly explain this one example and you will understand it very easily. So if it is an A-star algorithm, it will choose the best path. S is the start, G is the goal. I need to reach from S to G. So there are multiple ways. So what it does as the first iteration, it starts at S, goes to A. So from S to A, it costs me 1. The heuristic to reach here is 3. It's given in the table. So I add 1 plus 3, my cost is 4. Or I can go directly from S to G with a goal of 10, but it won't do it because it's expensive, right? So then it's going to try, okay, after A, what should I do? It says, okay, go to B. A to B, see, S to A, A to B. So 1 plus 2, 3. Then B heuristic value is 4, 7. Then S to A to C. This is 1 plus 1, 2. C is 2. 2 plus 2, 4. So obviously you will choose 4, right? Then the third, since I'm doing the third iteration because I did not reach the goal. If I go to B, I have to come to D and then G. I'm in C, I can go to G. So here I can go to S to A to C, C to D, and then to G. That is costing me 11. So this I don't have to explain again, I think. 1, 2, 2 plus 3, 5. Then heuristic for D is 6, 11. Here I can do 1 plus 2 plus 4, 6. There is no heuristic value for goal G. So 6. So optimal path is S to A to C to G. So if you use an A-star algorithm, it's going to choose the optimal path, which is an advantage over the other thing. So this is another example of with iterations. And that brings us to the end of the session today. I will let Doctor explain any questions, any doubts I can take. I'll let Doctor explain the assignment for you all. And trust me, tomorrow I will definitely show you the Python code, and I will also make you do the Python code. So this way you also feel comfortable and happy about it. So I think I did some justice to the search algorithm, Doctor, and hope participants did understand a little bit of okay, didn't understand, your lecture was bad. Anything is accepted. You can type it. I'm open for all.
Yes. Okay, Vikas, thank you. Yes.
Okay, Doctor, take it. The floor is all yours. Take it.
Sure. Sudha ma'am, do you want to the quiz? So as per the agenda, so let me do a quick recap of with the request from many of you, I'm preparing the PDF file. So we will be sending you the PDF file of whatever has been covered. Okay, so I'm trying to get that, the PDF. So like Industry 4.0, whatever we presented in the morning, so that will be shared with you in the form of PDF. Okay, then so this is what we explained in the morning. If you see that as per the agenda, so we went with the explanation of Industry 4.0, 5.0, what are the different components and building blocks of, am I sharing my screen? Yeah. Okay, so 4.0, 5.0, you got the big picture. Then we introduced about what is AI, what are the, Internet, what is Internet of Things. And then, we are trying to show some connecting devices. So there is one thing which we wanted to do, which we'll try to do probably on Friday, connecting with the Arduino kit. I know Balaji has tried. So we'll try to push that on Friday. Then we also went through a lot of codes of basic Python code. Mr. Ranganath has shown to you, simple Python code of working with that. Then I have shown some Python code. Then we also looked at how to use the Anaconda Navigator and different Anaconda tools. Then we got into the basic statistics, right? Then Mr. Ranga has, the end of the session, he has explained about search algorithm. Okay, this min-max, other things he will also show you tomorrow. So tomorrow will be more on the AI part, different types of knowledge, what are the agents and different types of logic. Then as Mr. Ranga said, we will explain about the data types, how to explore the data. Then we get into the machine learning, then we'll do the fuzzy logic, right? So every session,
sorry to interrupt. Please do not miss tomorrow's session, because on that machine learning and the entire tomorrow session is very important for you to follow the rest of the 3 days. I request all of you not to miss it.
Exactly. Every session is important. Every knowledge is important. Then we also have a quiz for today. Sudha ma'am will be sending you the quiz, so you can submit the quiz. It is going to be in a Google form. Okay. Then
Sir, actually already we have posted.
You already posted that?
Posted, doctor. Yes, doctor. Quiz posted.
Excellent. Thank you, ma'am. So
yes, already quiz was posted, and we have received 91 response.
Wow, excellent.
Wow, 91 responses. Wow.
So that quiz has basically the way we are going to give the weightage is so quiz 1 today carries 10 marks. Tomorrow quiz carries 20 marks. Quiz 3 carries 20 marks. Quiz 4 carries 20 marks. So totally 70 marks. Your assignment will carry 30 marks. Okay. So quickly about the assignment. We will be sharing you some case study. Okay, so I will share through Sudha ma'am. For example, I will share a problem from each domain. Agriculture. Okay, I'll just put it here. So, okay, so where is the agriculture domain? Can you please mute, ma'am? Agriculture, banking, civil, crime, cyber security, insurance, and social media analytics. Okay, and then some speech, video processing. So I will share like two problems from each domain, so you can use any projects you want. There is no compulsion you have to go only agriculture or banking. I'll show you one sample problem of the cyber security crime. Okay, for example, one problem, crime pattern detection using historical data. Okay, whoever, Madam Sudha ma'am, can you please mute it? Mute that person. Sudha ma'am?
I'll mute. Yeah, muted.
You pushed me out. I think it's a time for me. If I keep talking, I think I'll. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No problem. Okay, cool. So.
Okay.
No problem. Share. Yeah. So this is the problem. I'm not going to explain all the problem, but I will be sharing around 20 problems to you in different domains. One of the problem statement is crime pattern detection using historical data, right? So basically, crime is increased, different locations based on different time and different location, different locality. See, day by day with a different intensity, versatility, right? So there is we wanted to find out which is the smooth livelihood in the society. So what type of similar kind of crimes, robbery or stain snatching or whatever, all those things based on the data. So you have so much of crime. So we are trying to look at the artificial neural network and support vector machine or any method which Mr. Ranga is going to teach you. You can apply regression or any method. Anyway, you'll be next 3 days you'll be learning some more technique. Like we'll be teaching you classification, clustering. We'll be teaching you neural network techniques. So you can use any of those techniques and then you can try to solve the problem, right? So you wanted to predict, the crime, right? Can be predicted, in this type of locality, what type of crime will be more. Okay, how do you classify whether it's a crime or not a crime? So like that, there will be a problem will be given for you. We request you to go through. First, you choose a domain. See, like as I said, there are like agriculture, banking, civil, crime, cyber, insurance, social media, video, and then space. Okay, there are 10 domains we will be sharing with you. For each domain, we will be giving you 2 problems. Okay, so totally there will be 20 problems. So you have to choose only one problem, whichever problem you want. Okay, so what is that we are asking you to do? You have to just read. So there is an assignment. Basically, the assignment is, where did I write assignment? Yeah. Assignment.
Varsha, you can just submit a pseudo approach. That's good enough. If you can find the data set, you can try to get it from the internet. If you're not able to get the data sets because you need to have a good understanding of Python, you could, he's going to show you, you can just do a pseudo or an approach solution is also accepted as a part of it.
I think where, I don't know where we did that, we put the mark and everything.
Right. Yeah.
I am just
try to do from the recent, go to Word and do a recent.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you. Yeah, there you go. That's Mr. Ranga. One more. Assignment evaluation scheme. There you go. Okay. So basically, you will be given close to 30 marks. So you have to read the. Don't worry about the mark. We will probably adjust the mark a little bit. So first, what you need to do is read the given problem. Read the problem statement, which will be given to you today in a Word document. Okay. So you select your domain. We'll share this with you. You select the domain and then read the problem statement clearly. That is going to be your step 1 today. Okay. That is the first one. Then you go through that and then state what is the objective. What is that we are trying to really achieve. You interpret from that what are the constraints. Then what type of data you need in order to start the work. What type of preparation, what type of cleansing you need to do. Then what is going to be your approach to analyze and solve the project problem, crime detection, or credit card fraud detection, or plant disease detection. There is a lot of problems we'll be going to give you. So then, what is going to be your approach? Then state any method how you are going to look at it, and what are the packages you are going to use to solve the problem. Then how do you plan to train and test the model? What type of model you are going to build, and then some algorithm and pseudocode. Okay, if at all possible, try to write a pseudocode or methodology, or if you are smart enough, you can write the Python code and demonstrate. Right? Whoever demonstrate the Python code, I will work with Alirani ma'am. Will give you some special gift for you. Okay, as a token of appreciation. And then how do you suggest to improve the model and make the model right fit? Right. So this marks will be varying. So, but basically this whole marks will be 30 marks for your evaluation of assignments. Okay, so that is going to be the evaluation scheme. The 70 marks are for the quiz. So today, the day one is 10 marks. Okay, because we have given 5 quiz. So rest of the day you will be getting 20 marks. So 20 plus 20 plus 20, so 60 plus 10, which is going to be 70 marks for the quiz. Okay. So with that, almost I will share this assignment evaluation scheme. Let me save it in the right location. Day one. Okay. Yeah, I will share this with Sudha ma'am. So she will be sharing this assignment evaluation and then a couple of problems, right? So I already prepared the PDF. So we will try to share the PDF also through madam. Okay. So that's all. I think I'm done. If you have any questions, feel free to address these questions. The time is coming, almost 16:41. Okay. So I think we are pretty much done. Next 4 minutes available for you to ask any questions, and then Sudha ma'am to take it forward. Ma'am, I'm done. Any questions we can address now.
Thank you all for an excellent interactive participation, and we expect you to do the same in the upcoming 4 days and enjoy the session and learn as much as possible. Thank you all for your wonderful appreciation and comments.
Absolutely, yes. Excellent. Actually, this is a wonderful crowd. Wonderful group. As I always say, encouragement is the best tonic. You can, like say, just a padding, even you don't have to give under crore. You just give one padding, one kudos, one appreciation that keep people motivated. So thank you very much. Every day, I think Ranga has told the story about the elephant thing. I told the story about karma equal to thought. So tomorrow you will have a wonderful story on leadership. Okay. So because one of the thing that will be coming for the tomorrow session, I will talk about who is the leader, who is going to be the effective leader. He can be HOD or anybody, right? So there will be story on that, right? On the life skills. There you go. So there will be some positive points around this. Okay. So around this, I'll be talking about it. Maybe crisis management. Ranga will give one story. So tomorrow I'll talk about that, leadership. So one story which I already talked about, your thought equal to your karma. So that is done. So tomorrow I will talk about this leadership. Then, tomorrow afternoon, Ranga will tell a story. So every day there will be at least 2 stories and 2 positive points. So evolving the life skills. So follow your passion, learn to lead, nothing is impossible. So those are all the 3 mantras, you have to follow. And okay, by the way, one quick question for all of you. What are the 3 mantras you found in my deck, in our deck? Do you remember there are 3 mantras, 3 A's. Do you remember those A's? 3 A's. 3 A's we have told today morning. In the deck you might have seen. What are the 3 A's? Excellent. Adapt, agile, acquire. Very good. Audit. Study. We don't want to audit. Adapt. Okay, good. So we wanted to acquire. What knowledge we want, we need to acquire. If you want to become an ML expert, you acquire the knowledge. We acquire the knowledge, right? And then adapt to the situation, adapt to the business problem, adapt to a research problem, and then evolve, incrementally perform, right? Be agile, right? So those 3 are the mantras, right? You can use it, okay? And in industry, we call something like on time, to spec, within budget. I was engineering manager in applied materials. Mr. Sundar Pichai, your Google CEO, worked as an intern there. I was in Santa Clara, California. In fact, I met with Mr. Sundar Pichai. Sundar Pichai was successful because he followed these three principles: adapt, agile, acquire. Acquire, adapt, agile. He was just adapting himself, acquiring the knowledge, and performed. And he also followed these principles like on time, to spec, within budget. Anything you do, you have to do it timely, to the spec. Whatever is required, you're performing it, and within the budget. Whatever is allocated, you're doing it in that budget, right? Okay, I think I'm done. If I think almost 16:45, so 4:45, the time has come. Sudha ma'am?
Yes, Venkat.
Ali?
Yes, Venkat.
Yeah, we are done, ma'am.
Nice. We had a very good start today, and I was so happy that our participants were so active for all the questions. They were responding. They are responding nicely, and I wish that the sessions and the future sessions will be having the same dynamic system of presentation and learning. And I wish you all have a very good time in future sessions also. Thank you very much. Tomorrow we will start sharply by 9:15. I request all the participants to join. Today it was we wanted to start. Rahul Kala was there. That's why we wanted to start after 9, and we started at 9:15. Tomorrow no need to see anything. So I request you all to join by 9 o'clock. Start join by 9 o'clock, so that sharp by 9:15 we will start, because our sessions are so packed, so we don't want to miss anything. So please start join us by 9 a.m. The link is the same link what we have shared earlier. So use the same link. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night and good evening, everyone. We'll see you at 9 o'clock.
Feedback form is the attendance form, right, madam?
Yes. Feedback form is the attendance.
Somebody is asking. Participants, feedback form is your attendance form.
Nagaratnam, sir. Feedback form is the attendance form. Once you fill it, we will take that as attendance. No problem.
Thank you, madam. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sudha ma'am. Thank you all.
Madam. Thanks, Sudha, madam.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Already we have received 108. It's some
Hope for the same. They 120 people.
இன்னும் ரெக்கார்டிங்லயே இருக்கு. ஆனா ஏன் இன்னும் வரலைன்னு பாக்குறேன்.